In this video, we're going to uncover the forgotten history of Marie Antoinette's favorite perfume. When most people think of Marie Antoinette, they think of her lavish lifestyle and how she was ultimately executed during the French Revolution. But what a lot of people don't know is that she had a hidden passion for perfumery. In this video, we're going to take a look at her favorite scent and explore how it was eventually lost in time. Few things are as evocative as perfume. A single scent can transport us to another time and place, conjuring up memories of first love, long forgotten holidays, or even a beloved grandparent. Given its power to evoke such strong emotions, it's no surprise that perfume has a long and storied history. Perfume has been used for centuries to enhance the wearer's attractiveness and mass body odor. The first recorded use of perfume dates back to ancient Egypt, where it was used in religious ceremonies and as an embalming fluid. From there, the use of perfume spread to the Middle East and then to Europe, where it became increasingly popular among the wealthy upper classes. Today, perfume is enjoyed by people all over the world, with each culture developing its own unique scents and traditions. Whether worn for special occasions or simply to enjoy the pleasurable scent, perfume will continue to enrich our lives for many years to come. There is no doubt that perfume has a long history. The ancient Egyptians are frequently cited as the creators of perfume by burning essential oils, resins, and perfumed lubricants. They used scents to commemorate prayers and religious rituals. Smells were once only used in holy context, but throughout time, they were also included into regular hygiene. Even in ancient Egypt, there was a thriving commerce in spices, scents, and resins that were both native to Egypt and imported from far-off places like the Middle East, Arabia, and Indian regions. Fine woods, fragrant resins, and incense, some of the essential components of the perfumes of the time, were imported through these businesses. During the time of the ancient Greeks, scent loses its holy ceremonies and starts to go along with ordinary people's daily lives. In addition to continuing to accompany sacred rituals and significant events like births, marriages, and funerals, scent is now present in profane settings. It is associated with the concept of beauty and self-care, and it is in this way that it starts to be a major factor in daily life. The discovery of new exotic and priceless materials through expeditions to the East's spice trade will thereafter spur a brisk trade in scent throughout the known world. The proliferation of perfumes starts to accompany daily social gatherings and banquets, especially in the Roman Domus. However, even outside of the private setting, anyone with access to a Roman bath could bathe and use scented lotions and oils. Use of blown glass containers for perfumes is one of the most significant inventions credited to the Romans. This substance is odorless and simple to work with, making glasses in a variety of forms and colors ideal for holding early cosmetics and scented oils. Numerous essential oils originate from this distinctive and fragrant land. The most popular oil was rosewater, which was used to make food and drink, as well as to purify people in religious settings and scent the home. Arabs dominated the scent and perfume industries for many centuries thanks to advances in chemistry and alchemy that allow them to export precious raw materials around the globe. The Far East plays a role in the history of scent. Aromas, spices, silk, and other priceless items come from these nations, which were for a long time unknown to Western civilizations and endowed with an exotic charm. While this was happening, a portion of the scientific knowledge amassed over the previous centuries was lost in the West following the fall of the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. and the start of the barbarian invasions. The history of scent survived the early and middle decades, dark ages, because of the extensive trade with the East. The Crusades caused the trade of perfumes from the East to the West to flourish once more, and Venice now serves as the principal hub for the trading of costly items in Europe. Water for baths and for washing hands before meals were both scented with flowers, aromatic herbs, and essential oils. There were water basins with rose or violet petals, and sage, chamomile, or rosemary were also used for infusion, particularly in the dining areas. Upper-class women used to conceal aromatic bags beneath their robes or wear lavender and violet essences. The pompadour, a little metallic jar hung around the neck that dispersed natural scents like nutmeg and lavender, was another widely used gadget. At the period, these were relatively typical items for all socioeconomic statuses. They were mostly employed to cover up poor hygiene, but they were also believed to have the ability to ward off the plague that invaded Europe in the 14th century, to achieve the same therapeutic goal. Burning laurel and rosemary was utilized for smells and fumigations inside homes. The development of distillation made it possible to use alcohol as a perfume carrier instead of oil. The majority of the items in this new alcoholic perfume era were waters with rose or orange scents. The Renaissance saw significant advancements in perfumery art as a result of growing chemical knowledge and improved distillation methods. Although some skin conditions were treated with essences and liquid aromas, their primary use was to perfume the body, surroundings, and leather accessories like gloves and belts. Vanilla, chocolate, cinnamon, and ginger were introduced to Europe with the discovery of the New World and the India Way. These priceless materials were used by Spanish and Italian perfumers, who soon started to move to France as well, in addition to those that were previously available in the Mediterranean region. Italian perfumers in particular brought the trend of individualized perfumes to France. Meanwhile, in Venice, a booming trade in priceless spices and scents had emerged, quickly elevating Italy to the top spot for high-end perfume. According to legend, Giovanni Paolo Feminis, a street vendor, created Aqua Mirabilis. At the end of 1600, this consumable water was said to have the power to cure any illness. He started making and selling his renowned perfume based on more than 20 distinct ingredients after relocating to Cologne. Essences marketed as cologne water, this liquid was used as a tonic and perfume and spread to France and the rest of Europe as eau de cologne. In France, in the year 1700, the industry for perfumed leather items, including shoes, gloves, and belts, started to expand. Pink tuberose and jasmine essences were the most popular choices for this application. A more sensitive and natural smell perception emerged during this time period. People started paying a greater attention to hygiene. This tendency is readily apparent in the design of bathrooms and toilet rooms, as well in people's overall desire for elegant and delicate floral scents like those produced in Grasse and other parts of France. People started to place a more emphasis on seduction, which led to the development of elegant glass perfume bottles, candy boxes, and potpourri to disperse ambient scents. Finally, the development of artificial soda made it possible to significantly raise the caliber of solid soaps. In the past, these fragrance items were made in important Mediterranean ports like Genoa, Savona, Venice, and Marseille by a chemical reaction between natural soda and olive oil. In 1800, certain significant perfume retailers such as Bertelli in Milan, Pagliarelli in Alessandria, and Puglisi in Manera in Palermo took over the Italian fragrance trade and had to be restricted to the back of barbershops. Following the French Revolution, French society devoted itself to an unrestrained luxury at the start of the 19th century, making Paris the world's capital of fashion. Due to the liberalization of trade, a particularly lucrative secretive period of perfume creation that was adorned by both emperors and commoners began. The names of modern-day perfume houses and shops like Guerlain, Bourgeois, Roger and Gallet, and Molinard frequently provided royals and emperors directly. Additionally, chemical discoveries resulted in the synthesis of certain perfume molecules that make it possible to produce smells that are both unique and of the highest caliber. While the flowery waters based on rose, jasmine, or lily were more delicate, the strong and sensual smells were based on musk, patchouli, or heliotrope. Additionally, major companies started to develop cosmetic lines for theaters and women's restrooms. Beginning in the 20th century, modern perfumery was dominated by synthetic essences, which lent a distinct notes to perfumes, and by the development of aldehydes. Fragrances such as the well-known Chanel No. 5 were created due to this new technology. Original designer perfumes were sold all over the world, both in Europe and America, where fragrances were elevated to the status of true works of art. Because the message they convey now is what matters, the most well-known smells of that era were given names that evoke specific sensations. The first men's eau de toilette were also introduced. At first they were aftershaves, but subsequently they were true fragrances. In the 1700s, Marie Antoinette was known for her extravagant lifestyle and love of perfume. Marie Antoinette was one of the most famous and controversial figures of the 18th century. The daughter of Marie of Austria and Francis I of Lorraine, she was married off to Louis XVI of France at the age of 15 in order to strengthen the bond between the two countries. From a young age, Marie Antoinette was known for her extravagance and love of luxury. She was notorious for her lavish spending, and her love of perfumery was legendary. Marie Antoinette's love of perfume was said to be so great that she would often bathe in it. However, her passion for perfume would ultimately lead to her downfall. In 1789, Marie Antoinette was accused of using taxpayer money to buy expensive perfume. This accusation helped to fuel the public's anger towards the monarchy, and Marie Antoinette would eventually be executed during the French Revolution. Between 1774 and 1792, Marie Antoinette served as both the Queen of France and the wife of Louis XVI. Antoinette had been portrayed in popular culture as a troublesome and hated individual. She virtually single-handedly started the French Revolution, if folklore is to be believed. Legend has it that Marie Antoinette's sexual desires embarrassed her husband, undermined the government, and resulted in the birth of multiple offspring. Louis XVI made terrible decisions as a result of her henpecking and political enticement. Her extravagant expenditure on costumes, jewelry, trinkets, and frivolous items brought the country dangerously close to becoming bankrupt. Even worse, it was alleged that the French queen had shown complete disdain for the suffering of people under her control. The well-known "let them eat cake" meme mirrored this disdain. Only a portion of this is true, as is common in history. The mythology surrounding Marie Antoinette is made up of fabrications and exaggerations. Despite the fact that the evidence indicates she was largely innocent of the accusations brought against her, she has been transformed into a monstrous scapegoat for the French Revolution. As the 16th child of Empress Maria Theresa, Marie Antoinette began a life as a young Austrian princess. The young Antoinette, like other junior princesses, received a rudimentary education before being rushed into an arranged marriage to advance her parents' political aspirations. Antoinette was taken to France in 1770, just a few months after turning 14, to wed Louis Bourbon, the Dauphin, and heir to French monarchy. Despite being solely political in nature, intended to bring together the two major Catholic nations of France and Austria, their union was rife with ceremonial and custom. In accordance with a convoluted process, Antoinette had to remove her clothes at the border, enter France naked, and then have French servants dress her. The lavish wedding of Antoinette to the overweight 15-year-old prince, whom she had never met before, took place. Their early romance was troubled. Numerous courtiers observed Louis and Antoinette's earliest attempts at sexual activity, which may explain why it was never finished. Their marriage did not fully come into being for some years, and Antoinette did not become pregnant until 7 years had passed since their wedding. Despite these early missteps and the absence of any inherent romance in their union, the couple eventually came to love and respect each other. Both her days at the French court and her nights spent in her husband's bedroom were challenging for Antoinette. Versailles was in stark contrast to her mother's Austrian court's elegant gentility. While men peed on interior walls and couples openly flirted, idle aristocracy engaged in extramarital relationships, political intrigues, and gossip. Naturally, Marie Antoinette grew to detest court politics and routine traditions, forging a number of formidable rivalries, one of them being Madame du Barry, the mistress of Louis XV. The young queen became the subject of court rumors and nefarious plots as a newcomer and a foreigner. The Marie Antoinette's perfumer Jean-Louis Farguin was a young perfumer from Montpellier who moved to Paris to learn more about the perfume industry and to advance his profession. Eventually, he caught the attention of Marie Antoinette, a young queen of France, who asked him to create a variety of scents, perfumes, and beauty products for her. According to legend, Marie Antoinette had a lifelong passion for flowers, and she added blooms like roses, violets, lilies, and jonquils to her extensive collection of perfumes. It was fashionable for women to wear perfumed gloves at the period, so Jean-Louis Farguin made Marie Antoinette a pair of custom-made gloves scented with a particularly personal aroma to win the French queen's favor. The gloves were constructed of kid skin and were treated with a mixture of sweet almond oil, white wax, and eau de rose. Farguin created a natural aroma for Marie Antoinette's gloves by combining the scents of blood red carnations, hyacinths, violets, and musk jonquils to ensure the gloves would shield Marie Antoinette's hands from her riding rains and serve as a natural restorative beauty treatment. They were placed on fresh roses and decorated with nutmeg. I really want to try these gloves. I feel like they'd be good for sleeping. Jean-Louis Farguin's invention pleased Marie Antoinette, who placed numerous further orders for gloves to expand her collection. Jean-Louis Farguin created fragrant sachets with items such as sweet almonds, pine nuts, linseeds, lily bulbs, marshmallow root, and other aromatic plants in response to her request for a perfume to go with her bath. Marie Antoinette made numerous further requests as a result of the fragrant sachets' popularity. The Perfume de Triomphe was one of the numerous fragrances that Jean-Louis Farguin produced for the French queen. Other fragrance components were violet, rose, jonquil, and tuberose blended with amber or musk. Despite her reputation for extravagance, Marie Antoinette frequently drank floral orange water. The French queen had lemon and lavender essences added to her baths, and she used vinegars flavored with orange blossom and lavender to purify the air in the royal rooms. In order to purify and lighten her skin, Marie Antoinette had pompadours produced with the scent of rose, carnation, jasmine, vanilla, and tuberose. She also had cosmetic products made just for her. Marie Antoinette's pregnancy and perfumes. For the duration of Marie Antoinette's pregnancies, Jean-Louis Farguin continuously created perfumes of lemon, cinnamon, angelica, iris, rosewood, coriander, and other aromatic plants to calm and relax her. After the birth of the queen's first child, Fargan was even asked to create a perfumed mixture of oils to treat the queen's unexpected hair loss. Outside of the bath, sachets that were often fashioned with taffeta or silk and included a potpourri of fragrant herbs were also widely used. The queen's sachets were a favorite gift item for the queen to give to her friends. They would have been a very distinguished gift to receive because she also made sure that the perfume suited the recipient's personality. Marie Antoinette stored her liquid fragrances in a special cabinet filled with sparkling colored glass vials with silver stoppers. Before Catherine and Louis XVI sought to flee the revolution, she placed an exceptionally large order with Fargan because she was so devoted to his perfumes. Despite having a restricted amount of room for possessions, she also sought to pack the majority of them with her when she was fleeing. Gloves in pearl gray or white were another style preference of Marie Antoinette's, and they served as more than just a finishing touch to one of her exquisite costumes. Fargan was an expert in creating fragrant gloves from flowers, a typical specialty. He also took satisfaction in treating the gloves to give them healing properties for the skin. The queen's hands would be comforted by one of his sets of riding gloves as she galloped through the countryside on a lovely horse. Simple flowers like hyacinths, violets, red carnations, which had to be plucked an hour after sunrise or before dusk for the clearest aroma, which were used to scent the gloves. The gloves were regularly ordered by Marie Antoinette, around 18 pairs per month, which is insane, which would seem to indicate she only wore them once and then threw them away to keep her hands fragrant and soft. Fargan sent Marie Antoinette a vial of perfume to try on during the height of the revolution, when the royal family was being held captive in the Tower. He also gave her some of his eau de vie de lavande to help her relax. Naturally, Fargan was not compensated for these goods because Marie Antoinette was imprisoned and had no access to money, and the guards had no desire to do so. It was a gesture of goodwill that undoubtedly gave her some tiny solace in her final days. Marie Antoinette insisted on filling orders for perfume bottles, powder jars, with her favorite perfumes for her journey. Ultimately, the ensuing delay of waiting for her favorite perfumes may have cost Marie Antoinette of France her life. Marie Antoinette always carried her favorite perfumes and perfume sachets with her when she traveled, even when she was fleeing for her life. Although Marie Antoinette's favorite perfumes are no longer produced, her influence can still be seen in a number of contemporary scents. Marie Antoinette loved floral smells, particularly ones with notes of orange blossom, violet, rose, and tuberose. Now looking into the mystery behind Marie Antoinette's perfume, Gilles Thevenin knew he was picking up a trail that went all the way back to the tragic French monarch Marie Antoinette when he purchased the famed, nearly extinct perfume business of Lubin over 12 years ago. However, he had no way of knowing that 10 years later, he would discover the recipe for the final scent Marie Antoinette ever wore, and her final bottle of perfume was still in existence. The story of Jean-Louis Fargan, the Queen's perfumer, and young Pierre-François Lubin are set during the French Revolution. After the war in 1798, Lubin largely continued his mentor's work, and thanks to his success, he later became the purveyor to Empress Josephine and other ladies of the court. The first French perfumery to export to the United States was Lubin in the 1830s. By the middle of the 19th century, when the heirs Lubin sold his business to a French family, who kept it until the 1970s when it was passed among a number of multinational corporations. And now here comes Thevenin, the former director of creativity at Guerlain, who discovered the name while browsing a well-stocked backlist. He pleaded with his superiors for the opportunity to revive the brand. Thevenin recalls, "Here I was, staring at one of the oldest names in luxury, and no one in the firm was even interested. The company's main priority at the time was the introduction of Gucci Envy, Tom Ford's first fragrance." Thevenin pleaded with the Wella Board of permission to purchase Lubin every day for 15 months. He finally succeeded in quitting his work, and now he could work on Lubin. Thevenin, whose passion for history in general and scent in particular make him something of a walking encyclopedia. He is especially compulsive when it comes to perfume. Still, he was hesitant. There I was, discouraged and broke. I had a feeling of being a little brand enslaved, he recalls. Jean-Paul Guerlain, a friend and previous employer, advised him to remain composed. A pretty past is all well and good, he continued, but now I have to forget all that and act instinctively. Thevenin made a breakthrough. He was put in touch with the former proprietors of the house by a perfumer who had begun his career at Lubin in the 1950s, and they agreed to give him a copy of Lubin's original recipe books. Thevenin discovered a recipe from the 1780s called the Queen's Bouquet in these artifacts, which Lubin started at the age of 10 and continued throughout his life. The formula had been painstakingly recopied, as was routine, by a devoted apprentice. He observes that although the recipe is brief, it had a lot of individuality, but he added, dusting off ancient formulas was the last thing I wanted to be known for. I was unsure about what to do with it. He told a buddy of distinguished aristocratic lineage about the potential project. She was aware of the tale since one of her ancestors had served as the Queen's aide and the Dauphin's guardian. The Queen gave the Duchess her final vial of perfume, which she had hung around her neck on the night before she left. The gleaming black vial was described by the Duchess as a talisman in her memoirs after she had survived the revolution. The family began referring to it as Jade Noir or Black Jade over the years. Black Jade's contemporary Floriental version combines two essential elements of the traditional French garden, rose and jasmine, with herbs and spices that could be obtained in the French colonies of the time, including cinnamon, incense, sandalwood, and patchouli. While the story of the object's 230 plus years and 3 degrees of separation from the Queen is interesting, Thevenin finds the object's use as a talisman to be more captivating. The thing is currently hidden away in a vault somewhere. He does not despair of seeing it one day. He says, "The story of the Queen was so dramatic and upsetting, we French are not as comfortable with that. But it has a positive note because the talisman brought luck to someone." And I love this Black Jade perfume by Lubin. I have one of them too. And the bottle is just very beautiful, and I love the jade top to it. The Secrets of Marie Antoinette's Perfume is a fascinating look into the life of one of the most intriguing women. By analyzing the ingredients of her favorite fragrance, we can glean insights into her personality and her world. The scent is both complex and feminine, with hints of rose, orange blossom, and jasmine. It's a tantalizing glimpse into the life of a woman who lived in a world of luxury and excess. And thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out some of my other Marie Antoinette videos. Alright, bye!